To sustain life on this planet, we need clean oceans, clean air, soil and water.
As Indigenous farmers who've been managing our Indigenous estate from the beginning of time, what we are taught by our elders is to look for the signs, up in the sky, down in the ground. And what we have observed in the last 10 years of living on country is that country is changing. And so what we're starting to see is food scarcity. It is also impacting on our water security, and all of that balance is now becoming real indicators that science and traditional ecological knowledge is showing that climate is really having an impact on Indigenous peoples' lands and waters.
Australia is the driest inhabited continent on Earth, and climate change is impacting our food security and water both on and offshore.
Doctors for the Environment Australia is an organisation of medical doctors and students who are concerned about the state of the environment. We know from the Lancet Commission on Climate that climate change is the greatest health threat of the 21st century. Addressing the problems of climate change will improve many parameters for human health.
Australia has only 4% prime agricultural land, which is in decline. Goyder's line is moving south by 1 kilometre a year, and this is impacting our food security both now and near future. Water prices are too high for continued River Murray irrigation in South Australia.
Climate change now is threatening human health in multiple ways, with the spread of disease vectors and the problems of fossil fuel burning causing air pollution in every part of the world.
Vegetation is stressed because of climate change. No blossoms means no honey. Honey is a key indicator of the health of our environment. Creeks, rivers and lakes are drying up. Aquifers are dropping. There is not even enough flow to keep the mouth of the once mighty Murray open.
We're currently at the mouth of Australia's most important river system, the Murray-Darling Basin, largely recognised as the food bowl of our country. And as you can see, there are dredges maintaining a connection for that river system to the sea, pumping sand 7 days a week behind me due to low river flows. In part, these low flows are caused by a lack of rainfall right throughout the Murray-Darling Basin, but also unsustainable levels of water extraction. We have to treat climate change seriously. Food production is critical, and the impacts of climate change on food production now are serious.
The most recent IPCC report said that limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees C will require deep reduction in emissions.
The Wilderness Society is incredibly concerned about the global impacts that we're now seeing that are being driven by climate change. Now, there is little doubt we have to stop the expansion of the fossil fuel industry immediately, and we need to transition out of the existing industry as quickly as we can. We simply have no option but to do this if we're going to have any chance of a livable climate into the future.
Important food supply areas are not exempt from risky and dangerous mining activities or petroleum activities.
Living close to gas wells has direct impacts on the local population, but gas wells not only produce these local health effects, the gas is also contributing to rising methane levels globally. And methane is 85 times more powerful as a greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide itself. During exploration, flaring from one rig near Penola emitted in 6.5 days more than 4.5 million cubic metres of gas and contaminants into the air and adjacent farmlands.
Right now there's a push on by big oil companies to expand the fossil fuel industry into the Great Australian Bight. They're proposing risky deep sea drilling right in the middle of one of the most significant marine environments on Earth. Behind me here is the Great Australian Bight, home to one of the most significant fishing industries in the Southern Hemisphere. Now, the risks associated with expanding oil drilling into the Bight are serious. We've seen the oil spill modelling and what could go wrong, but also we cannot be pushing to expand the fossil fuel industry if we're going to have any chance of avoiding very dangerous climate change. Now, the implications of climate change on the marine environment are serious. We know that ocean acidification is causing the pH levels of our oceans to change, and that's having an impact on the exoskeletons of the base of the food chain. Phytoplankton, their exoskeletons are unable to form. Now, if the base of the food chain is wiped out, the flow-on effects through the entire marine environment are dire. We need to treat the impact of climate change very seriously. We must stop the expansion of the fossil fuel industry immediately. Climate change is also driving a huge extinction crisis. Animals and plants are disappearing from the face of the earth at an alarming rate. It's simply no longer viable to vote for politicians who can't commit to stopping the expansion of the fossil fuel industry, who can't commit to making addressing climate change their main and most important objective. This is a critically serious issue and one that we must grapple with.